Hey, what's up? In today's video lesson, we're going to be talking about empirical formulas. We're going to cover how they're different from molecular formulas, why they're useful to know, and ultimately, how do we solve problems, answer questions, and get them right every time when dealing with this topic. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to teaching you. This is a molecule of ethene. As we can see from this model, it's composed of 2 carbon atoms and 4 hydrogens. So its molecular formula would be C2H4. On the other hand, it has an empirical formula of CH2. So what's the difference between that molecular formula and the empirical formula? By definition, an empirical formula tells you 2 things. What types of atoms are in the molecule, but also what's the simplest whole number ratio between those atoms. So in the case of ethene, for every 1 carbon atom, there's 2 hydrogens. So we would say its empirical formula is CH2. In most cases, the empirical and molecular formula for a compound are different, but there are instances where it can be the same. For example, let's consider water, H2O. In this case, an actual molecule of water has 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen atom. But the empirical formula would be a simplified ratio between those elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Can we simplify 2 to 1? We can't. So in some cases, like with water, the empirical formula and molecular formula are the same exact thing. Now, if you're thinking, what's the value of an empirical formula? What's the point of knowing it? Don't we just want to actually know the molecular formula, the real number of atoms in a particular molecule? It's a great question. The truth is, scientists use the empirical formula as a stepping stone in order to figure out the molecular formula of an unknown compound. For example, if you had an unknown substance, you might use a piece of technology like a mass spectrometer, which could tell you which elements are in the compound and in what percentage are they found. Let's use this example. Imagine we have an unknown substance, and we use a computer to figure out that it's made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But we also learn the percent composition. That 40.92% of this unknown compound is carbon, about 4.5% is hydrogen, and the remaining piece, 54.5%, is oxygen. How can we go from those percentages and the identity of the atoms to finally getting to a molecular formula? Well, first, we would figure out what the empirical formula is. So let's take this example, these elements in this percent composition, and show you exactly how we do that. So most questions you'll be asked to answer that deal with the empirical formula topic will begin by giving you information like this: the elements in the compound along with their relative percentages that make up the entirety of this substance. We tend to use a poem to teach students the simple process of going from percentages to empirical formulas. The poem goes like this: percent to mass, mass to mole, divide by small, multiply by whole. So let's take that poem one line at a time and actually apply it to solving this problem. Okay, step 1, percent to mass. This is incredibly easy. All you need to do is take these percent signs after the numbers and erase them. Now, in order to go from percent to mass, you won't believe how simple this is. We simply replace those symbols with a lowercase g for grams. Okay, let's go to step 2. The next line in the poem directs us to convert from mass to mole. We do that using molar masses from the periodic table. So for example, carbon has a molar mass of 12.01 grams for every 1 mole of carbon. Hydrogen, 1.008 grams per 1 mole, and of course oxygen is about 16 grams per mole. This is what we use to go from grams of our compound to moles of those individual elements. And you can see here the three numbers I got were 3.407, 4.54, and 3.406. Now, these are the molar amounts, but we can't put decimals into an empirical formula because whether it's a molecular or an empirical formula, you need to use whole numbers. So now let's go to the third step of our poem, divide by small. Dividing by small means looking over the molar amounts you got from step 2 and finding the smallest number. In this case, the 3.406 moles of oxygen is the smallest of the 3 molar quantities. We then divide all of the molar quantities by that smallest number. Now, of course, 3.406 divided by 3.406 gives us 1. 4.54 divided by that same smallest number, 3.406, gives us 1.33. And 3.407 divided by 3.406 gives us a number that's incredibly close to 1, and so we're just going to leave it as 1. Now, as you can see here, we've gotten rid of 2 of the decimals with regard to carbon and oxygen, but the hydrogen is a bit stubborn, and we still have a 1.33, which we're not allowed to put in a molecular or empirical formula. The final line of the poem says to multiply by whole. And we're going to do this final step to get rid of this last remaining decimal to give us whole numbers that we can put into our empirical formula. Just a heads up, there are some instances where, when solving an empirical formula problem, when you do the divide by small step, you actually get all whole numbers as your answer. If that occurs, you are done with the problem. Take those whole numbers, put them into this chemical formula, and you've got your empirical formula. But in the case, like we see here, where a decimal remains, you're going to use that multiply by whole step, and we're going to do that next. When multiplying by whole, you want to pick the smallest whole number that you can find, that when multiplied by your decimal number, will result in a product that's a whole number. Now, of course, if we want to start small, you might think, well, what happens if I multiply all my numbers by 1? But multiplying by 1 will not change the decimal, the 1.33. It'll just keep it 1.33. So the first real possibility is to multiply your numbers by 2. In this case, if we multiply 1.33 by 2, we would get about 2.66. That's not a whole number. So then we go up. Let's try the number 3. We find that when we use the number 3, 1.33 times 3 gives us 3.99. And we're allowed to just round that to 4 because it's so close. Now, a couple details here. Notice we're not only multiplying the one stubborn decimal by a whole number to convert it into a whole number. Whatever you do to that number, the one that you're trying to get to go from a decimal to a whole number, you have to do it to all of the numbers, even the ones that were already whole numbers. So in this case, everything gets multiplied by 3, which gives us new amounts. 3 carbon, 4 for hydrogen, and 3 for oxygen. Okay, let's put that into our empirical formula for our final answer. So we just found the empirical formula for vitamin C, ascorbic acid, C3H4O3. Now remember, if you were to see a vitamin C molecule modeled for you, you wouldn't see this number of each type of atom. It's actually a multiple of this. The molecular formula is C6H8O6. But for this particular question, where we were trying to find the simplest whole number ratio of the elements in vitamin C, we've achieved our goal. Okay, I want to give you guys a couple questions where you can practice to really cement your understanding of what empirical formula is. Practice question number 1. Which of these formulas cannot be an empirical formula? Think of the definition, review the answers, and choose the one that makes the most sense to you. Hopefully you picked C. H2O2 cannot be an empirical formula, because those numbers, the 2's, can be simplified. The empirical formula of H2O2 would simply be HO, showing a 1-to-1 ratio between the amounts of hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, let's try another question. Here's your chance to practice. A compound is found to contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And the masses are also given: 6 grams of carbon, 1.51 grams of hydrogen, and 4 grams of oxygen. Let's see if you can find its empirical formula. Work it out yourself and come back to see my complete solution. So the correct answer is C2H6O. That's the empirical formula. Let's go through the steps. We had our grams given to us, our mass, in the beginning of the problem. We then convert those to moles by using the molar masses from the periodic table. That results in 3 decimals, 0.5 moles of carbon, 1.5 moles of hydrogen, and only 0.25 moles of oxygen. Next, we divide by small to get rid of those decimals. The smallest number is 0.25, so remember, we're going to divide all of our molar amounts by that smallest number. Here, we get whole numbers as our answers, 2, 6, and 1. Remember, when you get whole numbers after this third step of the poem, divide by small, you don't have to go to the multiply by whole step. That's an optional one that's only to be needed when it's required. So we take the 2, the 6, and the 1, we put them into our chemical formula, and we've got the right answer. I hope this video brought you a little bit closer to feeling comfortable with the topic of empirical formula. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next lesson.